Look, the latest revelations about former Prime Minister Scott Morrison are disturbing, but to many who know him, not surprising. Morrison came into the federal parliament via an extraordinary pre-selection process. This is a story in itself. Originally Paul Fletcher, the current member for Bradfield, who's turned a blue ribbon Liberal seat, one of the safest in the country, Bradfield, taking in affluent areas of Sydney, into a marginal seat. That is a measure of a man who is not worth the seat. Fletcher managed to swing against him at the last election of 15.3%. Any captain dedicated to winning anything would never pick Fletcher in his team. Back in 2007, though, Fletcher was a candidate for the seat of Cook, vacated by Bruce Baird, but he pulled out. So was Mark Speakman, the current New South Wales Attorney General. He'll be judged next March. He pulled out. It left two candidates, Morrison and the 26-year-old telecommunications engineer, Michael Toke. You might recall during the federal election in May, Michael Toke argued that Scott Morrison used claims about Toke's Lebanese heritage to undermine him back in 2007. Scott Morrison flatly denied the claims. The then Senator Fiervaranti-Wells argued in support of Toke that, quote, there are several statutory declarations to attest to racial comments made by Morrison at the time that we can't have a Lebanese person in Cook, unquote. That's what Fiervaranti-Wells told the Senate. Morrison has denied that. This followed the attack from the outgoing Liberal Senator, Fiervaranti-Wells, who labelled Mr Morrison an autocrat and a bully. Well, to this pre-selection in 2007, Toke won the ballot, 82 votes to Morrison's 8. Now, remember, Morrison had been the state director of the New South Wales Liberal Party from 2000 to 2004. Toke wins 82 votes to 8, but the state executive voted 12 to 11 not to endorse Toke and ordered a, quote, modified, unquote, pre-selection process. Toke is turfed out. What happened then? Well, they went to this modified pre-selection process. There were only two candidates and Morrison wins 26 to 14. Morrison had been in the parliament only 15 years, yet he managed to become Treasurer and Prime Minister. To those who know him well, he's basically a Sheffield Shield cricketer at best, who was never likely to make it as a test player, metaphorically speaking. So swearing himself in to every portfolio under the sun is a measure of a very insecure man struggling with the prime ministerial brief. Morrison can digest a brief, but he couldn't initiate one. He's the only Prime Minister I know who, when on the defensive and challenged, would utter statements like, you're talking to the Prime Minister. So here we have Morrison secretly entering arrangements which would enable him to overrule the decisions of Cabinet colleagues.